Hello everyone, my name is nateshputtalingappa. In this teaching and learning series, we are discussing the solutions for Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya Selection Test 2020, that is Class 6 JNVST 2020. Today, let us continue our discussion of solutions for Section 1 Mental Ability Test Part 5. Come on, let's begin. In Part 5, there are 4 questions from question number 17 to question number 20. There are some directions governing these questions. Let us read them and solve these questions one by one. Directions. In question numbers 17 to 20, there are 2 sets of 2 question figures each. The second set has an interrogation mark. There exists a relationship between the first 2 question figures. Similar relationship should exist between the third and the fourth question figure. Select one of the answer figures which replaces the mark of interrogation. Darken the circle in the OMR answer sheet against the number corresponding to the question. Here, there will be a relationship between first and second figure. Also, there will be a similar relationship between the third and fourth figures. In the place of fourth figure, there is an interrogation mark or a question mark. We need to find the appropriate figure among the answer figures which could fit the fourth question figure here. Looking at question number 17, here in the first figure we have a square. In the second figure, all possible diagonals are drawn to the square. In the third figure, there is a pentagon. So as we studied the relationship between the first and second figure, in the fourth figure, we are expecting all possible diagonals should be drawn to this pentagon, which make the fourth figure of the question figures. Looking at the answer figures, in all the answer figures A, B, C and D, we find pentagons. But only in answer figure A, we find all the diagonals are drawn to the pentagon. Whereas in answer figures B, C and D, we see all possible diagonals are not drawn to these pentagons. So answer figure A is the correct answer for this question. We mark answer option A as the correct answer for question number 17 on the OMR answer sheet and move to the next question. Question number 18. Here, looking at these 3 question figures, we notice a large circle and 2 small circles just above the large circle, which is common in all the 3 question figures. Looking only at the first question figure, we find an arc just over these 2 small circles. And coming to the second question figure, the arc which was at the top has been flipped about an horizontal axis. Our orientation is changed with respect to the first figure. So, in line with the same relationship, looking at the third question figure, we find a part of a square or a rectangle just over these 3 circles, and what we are expecting in the fourth question figure is the topmost part of this figure, which is a portion of a square or a rectangle, should be flipped, keeping the positions of these circles as in the third question figure. And now looking at the answer figures A and B, we find the positions of the circles are not as expected in the question figure. So these 2 cannot be the right answers. Looking at answer figure C, we find the positions of the circles are as expected, and also we find the required portion of this square has been flipped about the horizontal axis. Therefore, answer figure C is the correct answer for this question. Further, looking at the answer figure D. So here at the top, we don't have a rectangular or part of the square. So this cannot make the correct answer for this question. So as we found, answer figure C is the correct answer for this question. So we mark answer option C as the correct answer for question number 18 on the OMR answer sheet and move to the next question. Question number 19. Here, looking at the first 2 figures, there is a large circle which is the outermost figure. Within this large circle, we find a trapezium and a triangle. These figures are same among the first 2 figures, but The position of the triangle in the first figure is outside the trapezium, but in the second figure, the triangle which was at the bottom has been shifted into the trapezium. So, looking at the third question figure here, we have a triangle as the outermost figure. Within this triangle, we find a square and a circle. So, as we expect, in the fourth figure, this small circle should be shifted into the square, and the outermost figure, the triangle, remain the same. And now looking at the answer figures, in answer figure A, we have a triangle as the outermost figure as expected, but within the triangle we have the square inside the circle, which we are not expecting. We are expecting a circle inside the square. So moving on to answer figure B, we have a triangle as outermost figure. Inside the triangle, we find the circle as the innermost figure, which is inside the square as we are expecting. So answer figure B is the correct answer for this question. Further, looking at the answer figures C and D, we find the square as the outermost figure, which is not expected. We are expecting the triangle as the outermost figure. So, as we found rightly, the answer figure B is the correct answer for this question, and we mark answer option B as the correct answer for question number 19 on the OMR answer sheet and move to the next question. Question number 20. Here we find squares in all the three given question figures. Also, the square is made into four equal parts by drawing two perpendicular lines at the center, which is found in all the three figures. And looking at the first question figure, the small square which is at top left corner is filled by drawing cross marks. And now, keeping this in mind, looking at the second figure, the small squares which are adjacent to the top left square are again filled with the cross marks, and the small square which is diagonally opposite to the top left square is left blank, which is not filled by drawing cross marks. So we should find the fourth question figure which should have the similar relationship as we found between first and second question figures. Now looking at the third question figure, we find the bottom right small square is filled by drawing slant lines. So as we understood the relationship between first and second figures, the adjacent squares to this filled square should be filled by drawing slant lines as in the bottom right small square, and the square which is diagonally opposite to this filled square in the third figure should be left blank. So let us search for such a figure among the answer figures. Looking at answer figure A, we see that all the small squares are left blank, which is not expected. So this cannot be the right answer for this question. Moving on to answer figure B, here we find the small square which is diagonally opposite to the bottom right small square is filled by drawing slant lines. Actually, we are expecting this square should be blank. So this cannot be the correct answer. Moving on to answer figure C, here we have the bottom right small square is filled by drawing slant lines as in third question figure, and the adjacent squares to this square are also filled by drawing slant lines, and the small square which is diagonally opposite to the bottom right square is left blank, which is exactly as we are expecting. Therefore, answer figure C is the correct answer for this question. Anyhow, here in answer figure D, we do not find the three small squares which are filled by drawing slant lines as expected. So answer figure D cannot become the correct answer. So as we found, answer figure C is the correct answer for this question. We mark answer option C as the correct answer for question number 20 on the OMR answer sheet. So I hope you understood the solutions of all the questions discussed in today's video. I will come with the solutions of some more questions in my next video. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share and subscribe my channel to get notifications of my new videos as I upload. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.